Hello, congratulations on your CindyLouPins purchase. In this video, I'm going to show you how to sew your own ladybug. The CindyLouPins Ladybug Kit includes plastic canvas mesh, felt, pre-cut and the edges are curled so that you won't poke yourself, pipe cleaners for the legs and antenna, red yarn, black yarn, and a pin back for the back. The needle is not included in the kit. You can get needles fairly cheaply from craft stores or online. The important thing to look for is that it's size 16. So we'll start by threading our needle. To do this, pinch the yarn and push it through the eye of the needle. Now we want to leave a little tail. Here's my needle. Here's my tail. For the ladybug, we're going to start in this center hole, 3 down. Okay, so here's the top, second, third, we're going to start here. Go from the back of the mesh forward towards you, and we want to leave a little tail behind the mesh. Just hold that out of the way with your finger for now. Okay, from there we're going to go down and to the left. The ladybug, unlike some of the other sewing projects, you sew in 2 different directions. So on this side we're going to be sewing towards the left, on this side we're going to be sewing towards the right. So we'll start off going down and to the left. Okay, next hole, down and to the left. Now we want to cover the exposed corners here, so since the yarn is currently behind the mesh, I'm going to go around and cover. Okay, now the next hole is a corner, so go from the back forward towards you. I'm going to go over the top, then I'm going to go through the hole twice more to go around the corner, and then one more time to go around the side and cover that hole completely. Now we need to do that with the next hole down. Same thing, around the top, around the corner, and around the side. And I'm going to go back up a row and sew across here. Now be careful that you don't get a loop stuck. It's easy with the ladybug to get stuck around the head or around the body, so just be careful that doesn't happen. So now this time I'm going up and to the right. See, got stuck around the head again. And only go until the middle column, because on the other side we're going to sew in the opposite direction. Now when you're sewing, the yarn tends to tangle itself up, so to avoid that, just pick up your mesh, hold it up, and let the yarn untangle itself. See how it's spinning? So you want to do that at the end of every row or so, and that'll prevent knots from forming. Now we have this little tail behind the mesh from the beginning, so we're going to cover that up. So what we're going to do is stretch it across and sew over it. So starting down the next row, again down to the left, now I want to try and lock that tail in the back. I've got this little loop here. You want the tail to be going through the loop and lock it into place. And we'll do that again. Make sure the tail is going through this loop. It's not, so we'll just put it through and lock it in. And once you get three or four stitches, locking that tail in. If there's any extra, you can simply cut it off. Now from here, basically you just want to continue going back and forth. I'm at the edge again, so I'm going to go cover the corners. And then you want to continue going back and forth on the left side of your ladybug. And remember at the end of every row to hold up your project and let the yarn untangle itself. Now when you get to the bottom here, you're going to simply do the same thing, except in the opposite direction this time. So starting again in this middle row, now I'm going to sew to the right. So we'll cover this bottom row first. Cover the corner. And same thing, except back and forth in the other direction. Make sure that you are hitting this middle row. We don't want to have a big gap in the middle of our ladybug. So now just continue the same thing, back and forth, sewing in the opposite direction this time. And when you reach the end, cover up the last corner, and then one more to fully cover it, and then go behind and find somewhere to stick the remaining bit of yarn in. From here you can just cut off the excess. Now we're going to switch to the black yarn and do the head. Now I've got my black yarn here threaded, so you're going to flip over and again just find a place to tuck it in. And now we'll sew our head. So we're going to start here in the third one down on the right side. On the first stitch, be careful not to pull out this bit that we tucked in the back. Now we're just simply going to go around the head. Get all the corners and edges. You can choose if you'd like to sew with the stitches facing right or left for the head. Since I'm righty, I generally sew with my stitches facing right. At the top of the head. Around the corner. Side. You might notice I'm doing 2 for each one on the side. You can do 1 or 2. 2 gives it a little bit extra coverage. Now from here I do the inside stitches. Maybe I'll do one more in this corner. Now from here we're going to do the line down the ladybug's back. So since we're stitching on top of the red, we're going to be doing every other stitch. This is also a little bit harder because you can't see the holes, but you can see where the yarn is facing different directions. So we'll start here and go down You can do one hole at a time, you can do two, I'm going to do one. We're going to go every other hole, so then skip to the next hole and make the next stitch down. And continue that way down the back. And then we're going to turn around and go back up the other way. Don't forget to let your yarn untangle itself. Oh, see, I almost went in the wrong hole there. So if you catch it early, then you can simply pull the needle back out. If you go all the way through, you'll have to unthread the needle and pull out the mistake, and then rethread the needle and continue. So try and be careful not to do that. Okay, now loop around the bottom and we'll go back up. Now, as I mentioned, you can do every other hole for this, or every single hole. Now see there, I got a little bit of red stuck in there, so maybe I'll just redo that one. There we go, that's better. Now once we finish with this, we're going to do a French knot to make the spots for the ladybug. Now there's no actual specific math or science to this, you can just do them wherever you like. So pick some spots on your ladybug, head over to my French knot video, and I'll show you how to make the French knots for the ladybug's back.